Hey gamers. How are we doing? Oh shit. Shit. Forgot to turn this fan on. Everyone. How's everyone doing? Let me get this sent out to Twitter to alert the Twitites, the twats, that we have launched. We're sending the stream into space. All right, there we go. We did it. We did it. Hello, everyone. Lauren, you didn't miss a story. No, we are just kicking off here. You got a timer in the bottom right screen to show you how close we are to starting. 15 minutes to go. I figured I'd cut it back a little bit because I know some people just want to get right into it. Let me, I gotta delete this because I recorded some background noise early, but then I realized I didn't have my fan on, which would be best to have that on because, sorry, I'm like looking at my mic really close. Yes, delete all. There we go. It's kind of neat. It has like an interface like directly on the microphone, so you can delete and stuff. You like the synthwave track? It has a bouncy rhythm. Yeah, this song's called Cloak of Stars, Hello Meteor. And this is from that channel Soul Search and Destroy. It's called Smolder. Love synthwave stuff, you know? It's just always got a good vibe to it. Hey, D-Shore with the first dono of the night with a $5 Rooney says, hey, sexy voice, tell everyone to listen to Tori Amos and have the best night ever. All right, everybody listen to Tori Amos. Who is Tori Amos? That's the big question. An American singer and songwriter. She classically trained musician with a mezzo-soprano vocal range. Oh, good to know. She's 57 years old from Newton, North Carolina. She's currently married to Mark Howley. Children, Natasha, movies and TV shows, Mayor of the Sunset Strip, Fade to Red, and more. Wowza, she is. Sounds like a pretty neat gal. Thank you for the 5. And Dolce Amada with the 5 says, why don't you do more missing person videos? I would love this. Would love to see you do them more often. Well, I do have some internet mysteries coming up. Or not internet mysteries, just normal mysteries. Unrelated to the internet coming through. So that should be pretty sick. Jose, I got you into synthwave. Yeah, once you get into synthwave, it's just one of those things where it's like, it's definitely a gateway drug, you know? Like, it hits the, hey, Hannah's here, and she adores us. It's definitely one of those, you know, it's always positive vibe, it's always interesting, you know, and it really can range. Like, it doesn't always have to be positive. Like, I've heard some that can have really dark tones that are really, really cool, but yeah, you gotta love it. Really, like, some of the most upbeat shit I've heard in the past was from, like, the 80s. And now that synthwave is kind of repopularized 80s stuff, I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Ava says, you doing good? I'm doing good, yeah. I slept a fuck ton today. I think I've got my gym schedule kind of figured out where I'll just go on upload days, so like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Saturday. Just because sometimes whenever I do a gym and then come back here, I'm just like, even though obviously I'm still pretty late starting this stream. Alex, thank you for the support. You were just thinking of how I'd sound doing erotica stories. That's a good question. We've all wondered that. I'm sure I've read something sexy smexy out there. Someone's got it hidden or into into a drive in a vault somewhere in a bank. Hey, the Dark Somnium, what the hell? He says, well, 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 if it isn't Mr. Space Moon Skeleton Astronaut Boy himself, it is. Dark Somnium, what are you up to, my good friend? It's good to see you. Speaking of music and musicians, you guys should give a listen. Well, first off, to Dark Somnium's narrations, because they are top tier. He does a lot of cool creepypasta stuff, as well as his music he produces is fucking sick, nasty, blasty. Hey, there's Jen Child. Hey, Jen Child. The voice is sexy. Thank you. Thank you kindly. You're waiting for it. Yeah, gotta get that OnlyFans going. Where can we see me, my face? You can see it. You can see a painting of my face on Le Discord. I've deleted all the other stuff just because, just wasn't feeling it. Just wasn't feeling the idea of my face existing in the ether. Somnium says, not much, just about to record. Thanks so much. Hope you're doing well. Just past 300K. That's nuts, dude. Holy shit. Congratulations. Isn't that wild? 300K. I feel like that was not that long ago. You were at 100K. So freaking congratulations. Oh, you're live now too. This is Scary Stories and Reddit No Sleep Creepypasta. Okay, so it's like a constant. That's sweet. I like your thumbnails. Those are looking sick. Are you posting twice a day? Or that'd be pretty wild. The views are doing good, my friend. Damn. Hey Sam S, what's going on? Good to see ya. It seems like a lot of like creepypasta. Oh wow, yeah, your views at 3.8 million a month. That's fucking. Well, look at that, and the subs are just blowing up. You must have got something figured out. You'll have to tell me what it is, and maybe it's like a daily upload situation. That's amazing. Damn. Jessica Wismer with the $4 rating. Thank you, Jessica. Yeah, Dark Somni is pumping out the content. Says, oh, thank you. Yeah, they're all too kind. Been back on a daily schedule, trying to at least. We should collab against it. Absolutely, I'm down anytime, man. You let me know. I will record some spooky tones for you, or you can jump in here. Anything you'd like. Yeah, it seems like within the creepypasta like narration community, like daily videos seem to be what's doing it. But I just don't know. I'm like uncertain if I'd be able to keep up with a schedule like that, to be honest. Like I just don't know if I'd be able to like even acquire all the necessary resources to do so, you know what I mean? I guess potentially maybe for like a creepypasta type channel. If I made a creepypasta channel, like a separate one, I wonder what I would call it. D-Shore with the 5 says, Tori did God and toured with Atlantis Muhammad. My friend is really good. Raspberry Swirl and definitely Professional Widow remix. Alright. I feel that. I'll have to check them out after this. Derek, I'm sorry to hear that, my friend, but we're here for you. I'm glad you can make it. Yo, this is a funky ass beat. Oh yeah. Welcome. Joel's Creepy Corner. Yeah, that would be. I don't even know. I mean, like, it looks like a lot of these are around. They range from like 15 to 30 minutes or so, which definitely could be doable, but just like, I don't know. Wow, this one's nuts right here. I'm a guard stationed at secret government prison, full story. 3 hours and 60. You must be grinding, man. Fucking grinding that shit. How many stories tonight? We got 7 stories, and these are middle of the night, or, you know, of the theme and variety of stories that happen in the middle of the night. I just keep it a little bit generalized there, you know, but definitely took place at nighttime. Yeah. And there's another creator, Carson Claus. What's up, dude? Says, keep it up, buddy. Much love. Thank you, Carson. Should read SCP stories. Yeah. I remember hearing a while back that there was a guy that, like, copyrighted the concept of SCPs and was going to court for it. Or something weird. I don't know if Dark Somnium knows about that or not. Something about SCPs and owning the rights to, like, the concept or whatever. Dark Somnium says, oh yeah, that story is basically Mortal Kombat mixed with SCP. It was fun doing all the sound design for the fight scenes. Oh, that's sick. Yeah, she putting some serious effort into these stories with World Class Traveler has become a full-grown pizza. A member of the Buttersock Call. Thank you, full-grown. It's a SCP it's basically a Wikipedia of just like crazy sci-fi monster type design, so like anybody can contribute to it or come up with an SCP, but basically how it kind of pans out is SCP stands for Secure, Contain, Protect. And you know, you might have like SCP-69420, and that SCP could be like a roach or a joint that never quite ever finishes, but every time you smoke it, you see terrifying hallucinations or something like that. I don't know. I could see that being one. Dark Knight says, I remember someone was trying to copyright Creepypasta, but I haven't heard anything about SCP being copyrighted. Yeah, it was a weird thing. Some guy in like Russia or something. It's always Russia. Yeah, SCPs, WAPs, very similar. WAP. Fetty WAP. Are there any girls scary story readers? There definitely are. Like Emily in here. I don't know if she's here tonight or not, but she's the Dead Leaf Clover. She does narrations. Gothic Rose is one of the mods in here from time to time. She recently had some children, so she's taking care of her newborn baby. And yeah, so there's a lot of girl narrators out there you can find for sure. Yeah, you may like Romnex. I'm a little biased though, because she's my girlfriend, huh? But she does scary stories on her channel. Oh, nice. Yeah. Go check out Romnex. Oh, I put my backpack underneath my desk this time, so Pradeep can kill 2 birds with 1 stone, where he is hanging out directly at my feet, but also in his like little secure, safe space of laying on his backpack. I should just read all trashy lyrics, yeah. How many, if Dark Somnium is here, I'm curious, like how many stories would you say you would narrate in a day to like almost like bang that out, you know what I mean? Because daily uploads is tough. I gotta bounce to record some stuff. Have a good stream. Yeah, thank you, Somnium. Have a good one. Peace out. It's good to see you're doing well. Shit. Angry Hobo says, Rainbot is awesome female content creator. She generally does more true crime style stuff, but it's really great content. Yeah, Rainbot is fantastic. She's right along that lines with like Nexpo and, you know, people of that nature, I suppose. You know, she's been in the game for a while. Oh, this is some real 80s shit right here. Damn. Some workout beats. Sorry, just getting music ready for when we make the switch here. Rook X with the 5 says, let's read. Your farm stories vid you put out a little bit ago was OP. Keep it up. Peanut butter brother. Nice. It was next level. It is pretty OP. It's like the theme stories mixed with, well, the fact that it's like almost an hour long. Raven Reads is really good. Yeah. There's so many out there, you know. Our community is vast and limitless. And Justin Aaron Plays with the 2 says, love your vids, man. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Justin. Good to see you. I see the Eagles profile picture there. That's pretty close to me. Well, a few hours, I suppose. Sir Crow with the 2 says, I love your stories, Kiva. Thank you, Sir Crow. That's funny. That picture, your profile picture kind of reminds me of Sir Aim. I remember there was a creepypasta narrator with he was Dutch, I think, but he had a very similar kind of photo to that. Looks like the Cheshire Cat almost. Swamp Deller Lazy, let's read your faves. Tiger's Eye, nice, yeah. Those are some good people. Dude, Lazy's making some really good content. Always love it. I like that he's kind of like branched out into the true crime realm. Oh shit. Oh my god. Holy shit. Amanda C. with 100 Canadian maple syrup bucks says, boop. Just dropped in to say your last few vids were great. Keep them coming back to work. Woo! Thank you so much, Amanda. Holy shit, $100. Just fucking big one of the night, just out of nowhere. Thank you. Hope you're having a good shift at work there. Found time to go be royally generous there. Holy shit. Thank you. And I appreciate that. Yeah, the last vids, they've been pretty lit. Some really good stories. I'm hoping this one keeps them coming for you. Yeah, daily videos, guys. That seems, if you guys are trying to break into the creepypasta scene or, you know, YouTube, it seems like YouTube really, really appreciates and gets your content out there for daily videos, you know. Good views, good push to new subscribers. I honestly wish I could keep up with that schedule. That would be really, really tough. Thank you again, Amanda. Holy shit. It's crazy. And Alec, welcome here. And Letty Ramos with the 2 says, hi, thanks for reading. You're the best. Thank you, Letty. I will do my best here to read y'all into a coma. Make Lila blue. Yeah, Lila is here all the time, isn't she? Where's she at? Oh, there she is. There we go. There you go, Lila. You can help the other moderators there, the good old Hannah and Fry. Sometimes they need a little bit of a break, you know? I think it's good to have a healthy selection of moderators who are been here since the beginning, or at least for quite some time, to help things run smoothly. And Sugar Mills with the 5 says, how's it going? It's going good, Sugar. Good to see you. We're at like 350 people starting the stream, so I appreciate you guys being here, chit-chatting, your generosity. Thank you so much. Keeping me alive, keeping me eating endless amounts of pizza, which might not, maybe that's not a good thing, I don't know. Let's Read comes to an early end from being so constipated from cheese. JK. But we're going to make the switch over here to reading some spooky stories with the assistance. Oh shit, that's turned up. With the assistance of Iron Cthulhu Apocalypse. Once again, guys, if you're looking for this mix of synthwave, you want to go to Soul Search and Destroy's YouTube channel. The playlist is called Smolder. The current song, Pure Sport. Montgomery. Thank you again for appreciating a little synthwave action. We're gonna switch it up to a little spooky action. Feels like it's really loud though. Let me know if that's mixed oh so perfectly for you. Support Pradeep and donate. Yeah. Support his addiction to sleep. His addiction to sleep. We share a very similar addiction. Synthwave. Yeah, someone needs to make a synthwave mix. Just a bunch of like the synthwave like love songs and stuff like that. Pizza boys. Yeah, pizza's so damn good. I mean, you just like I always feel like shit afterwards, but it's just like in the moment it's like an intoxicating fucking spell that I'm under. I'm like, yes, pizza, bread, cheese, sauce, meat. Yes. Oil. He has addiction to my gym bag. He does love it. I guess because it like sits on my back where it's all sweaty. It's got all my scent like just plastered into it. Guys, once again, thanks for being here. Click like on the stream if you haven't already. I think it helps the stream a little bit to get it out to more people. Let them know that we are live, having a good time here. And a la Fingal with the 5 Aussie bucks, first and only person I've donated to. Well, thank you, Allah. I appreciate that. That's an honor, honestly. I know some people like the idea of donating to streamers is kind of like a, why would you ever do that? Because I was definitely in that position, but once you pop that cherry. No, I'm just kidding, but thank you so much. But yeah, click that like button, share the stream out, either on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Twata, wherever you'd like. Let everyone know that you're enjoying it, and yeah, we're going to kick this off. If you guys have a story that you want to submit, something scary, whether it's paranormal, whether it's your experiences with a stalker, or even just something crazy out in the wild that you went through, I am more than happy to read stuff like that. Or a lot of people, which has been really cool, is people do some research on, different topics. So like if you're just like into a true crime thing that you've been researching and you feel that you have the desire to kind of like do a little bit of an expose, a little bit of research on that, and then type that up on the subreddit, please do so. Go to www.reddit.com/r/letsreadofficial. That's my official subreddit where you can submit your stories and hear them narrated on the channel. Alex M with the 10 says, have you or do you want to learn a martial art? You know, I thank you for the 10, first off. I really appreciate that. And I did, honestly. And I still, like, at times think to myself that it would be cool to know a martial art, just obviously for self-defense reasons and, building a discipline. But I was part of jiu-jitsu for a while, and though it was neat, and I did learn a lot about, like, in the short period of time, about like body mechanics and just basic self-defense maneuvers that can help you in a bind. It was just one of those kinds of things where I just didn't enjoy what would become of me in the long term, in the sense that like I wasn't like a fan of getting there with like very little like warm up and just like getting right into like rolling around on the mat with people like all sweaty and gross, and as fun as that sounds, rolling around with a bunch of like sweaty old men is not my top priority in life, unfortunately. And I don't know, it was just like, that mixed with the fact that pretty much, in jiu-jitsu, what you do is you try to put your opponent in a strenuous position of bending their body to such a degree that they have to tap out, where they're like, if you take it any further, you could potentially hurt them. And it's like, you're not necessarily wanting to hurt them, but it's like, the fact that you're constantly being put in a position that's like, it's not like you're stretching or like appropriately doing a movement. Like, you're being put in positions that obviously require a lot of flexibility, but also, you know, could lead to injury. And then as well as like people talk about getting like ringworm and MRSA and just gross shit from like rolling around on like a sweaty mat. And then obviously I feel like that probably isn't flying like too great right now with what's going on in the world. But so I kind of, and then I was also on top of that doing lifting at the time. So I had to choose one or the other. I just didn't have the energy. Hey, there's Carrie. Hi, Carrie. You know, so I just wasn't feeling it. Alex M with the $10. Oh yeah, you already asked it. Thank you, Alex. And Alex Geese, I hope I'm saying that right, or Geesey, has become a member of the Buttersock cult. And a full-grown pizza. But thank you guys, thank you. Yeah, my Joel juices were just flowing all over the freaking mat. It got very messy. Yeah, I definitely talked about. Someone asked me about that stuff last week. I probably repeat a lot of stories here from time. Oh, my own personal stories. Near worthless without the philosophies that go with it. Yeah, definitely. You know, I kind of feel like martial arts would have been something I could have been really big into if it was something that I got into at like a important developmental stage. You know what I mean? Like either, you know, pretty much any time during grade school. You know, K through 12, because it just. I just you know, like at a later point in life, like really starting anything, it just becomes more difficult. And then at like the first sign of like inconvenience, you're just like, I don't know if I'm feeling this. Jensen, my boy, says no, don't free chills, because the devil said hashtag free chills. Chills is down in Jensen's basement for forever, to be used for parodies at his will. All right, guys. Yes, we can read. Enough of my blabbering mouth, but thank you for being here again. We're going to be doing 7 middle of the night stories here. So right when I was fresh out of college, I managed to land myself with an engineering film. Oh shit, you know what I need to do? I forgot to record the 10 seconds of silence leading up so I can remove the background noise. So let me do that real quick. This one's for the soldiers. Both sides. So right when I was fresh out of college, I managed to land myself a job with an engineering firm over in Pennsylvania. It kind of sucked having to move away from Rochester, New York, where all my friends and family were. But the salary this firm was offering was so sweet that I just couldn't turn it down. So I went online and got looking for apartments just outside of Philly, eventually finding an advert for a guy who was looking for a roommate for... Get a long breath. I gotta hold it so... so this takes place in Philly. Okay. We were just talking about Philly. With the Eagles. The Eagles. So I went online and got looking for apartments just outside of Philly, eventually finding an advert for a guy who was looking for a roommate for a super swanky apartment. I mean, this place was really nice, and I could get why the guy would be looking for a roommate to split the rent with, especially since he seemed to be a younger dude who was probably in a similar position as I was. However, I didn't have the time to drive down to actually look at the place or meet the guy in person, so I pretty much did all the arrangements by phone. Which, maybe, now that I look back on it, was my first big mistake. So I moved in with this guy, Daryl, who was super chill and pretty much spent all day playing 2K since he worked nights. I figured that he must have had a pretty high-paying job, and since he had this huge flat-screen TV, lots of expensive clothes, a nice car, the works, really. We didn't talk all that much, since we were on such different schedules, but eventually, when I asked him exactly what it is that he did for a living, he gave me super vague answers about having some kind of accountancy job. Accountancy? Is that a word? Accountancy? Are there certain times when I go live? Well, I always say like I mean, it's approximately like, you know, 9:30, but I slept in so fucking late today, and then I just like couldn't like get my dumbass into order. You know what I mean? And it just like I would totally prefer to be like streaming at like 5 p.m. or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, or definitely at least 7. But okay, accountancy is the profession or duties of an accountant. Okay, I just always hear like in the context of accountant. But yeah, I'm such a night owl anymore. I just go back and forth. You know what I mean? I try to reset my schedule, and then my body just says, "Nah, I think we'd like to sleep like a vampire." Joel likes to go live at the most inconvenient times. Yeah, I try to like wait for you to be doing something, or you're busy, and then I go live. He gave some super vague answer about having some kind of accountancy job. And no matter how much I pressed him for details, he always gave some wishy-washy answer until he got tired of the questions and changed the subject. Like a lot of you reading this, I started to suspect that Daryl wasn't quite telling the truth about what he did for a living. Like not once did I see him wearing anything like a shirt and tie. All his clothes were super upmarket, sure, but they were all super casual. He also had a lot of visitors in the evenings before we left for work. At first, I figured they were just friends of his, but there were a handful he didn't seem all that close with. And every time they stopped by to see him, at some point they'd just scuffle off into Daryl's bedroom for a while, talking in hushed tones before the visitor eventually left. I knew something was going on, but as embarrassing... I'm sorry. Lila stays up till 5 a.m. Hell yeah. Have you ever heard of Skyquake? I have not heard of Skyquake. What's that about? I knew something was going on, but as embarrassing as it is, back then I was pretty naive. Besides that, I really didn't think it was any of my business. The last thing I wanted to do was upset my new roommate and... piss away such a sweet living arrangement. The last thing I wanted to do was upset my new roommate and screw away such a sweet living arrangement. So, this one Saturday, I'm in the local 7-Eleven just like a block away from the apartment when this dude comes up to me as I'm looking at coffee and asks me if I'm the guy who lives with Daryl. Obviously, I'm all like, yeah, good to see you, dude. I didn't recognize the guy, but I figured that he'd visited the apartment one time and I just couldn't quite remember his face. He's being all friendly and whatnot, making small talk about this and that before he asked if I know whether or not Daryl was at home right then. I told him I didn't know, but that since it was like mid-afternoon that he probably was since he worked nights, whatever that entailed. The guy's all like, okay, cool, I might stop by and say hi. And all this stuff, then makes some excuses and leaves the store. I pick up a few things and head back to the apartment, half expecting to see the guy from the 7-Eleven when I walk through the door. Only he's not there, and when I tell Daryl about how I saw one of his buddies in the store, he has no idea who I'm talking about. Even when I describe the guy in quite vivid detail, he has absolutely zero clue who I'm referring to. He starts reeling off names, asking if it was Deshaun or Robbie or Angelo, and it's then that I sort of realized that the guy hadn't given me a name at all. Which is weird, right? I mean, I thought it was. Sorry, that sounded weird. He starts reeling off names, asking if it was Deshaun or Robbie or Angelo, and it's then that I sort of realized that the guy hadn't given me a name at all. Which is weird, right? I mean, I thought it was. You think the dude would have been like, tell him such and such and said hi. Whoops. Do a collaboration with Mr. Nightmare. I'd like to. It's hard to get a hold of that bloke. Tell him such and such said hi, or at least something like that. I didn't really think anything of it at the time, but Daryl seemed just a little too freaked out by the encounter for my liking, and in the moments after I told him, He marches off into his bedroom and stays there for the rest of the evening, talking to someone, I'm guessing on the phone, in those same hushed tones that I was used to hearing. A few days after this, I'm walking back up towards the 7-Eleven to grab some milk for coffee when I see the same dude that I hadn't given his name. Shit, dude. My brain's like not. Blue Spooky. I actually believe that I did collab with Blue Spooky in the past. I can't quite remember when, though. Check out Mild Orange, your favorite band. Nice. In the moments after I told him, he marches off into his bedroom. Same hushed tones. Sorry. A few days after this, I'm walking back up towards the 7-Eleven to grab some milk for coffee when I see the same dude that hadn't given his name parked up at the side of the road. He calls out to me, greeting me and making chit-chat in that same warm way he had before again asking if Daryl was home. This time I straight up lie to him, telling him that, yeah, Daryl was home, only this time he was with a bunch of his friends playing 2K. He wasn't. He was actually out visiting family across the city, but there was something about this guy that I really, really didn't like. I quickly make an excuse telling him I had to go, and it was only then that this guy's demeanor started to change. He wasn't all smiles and laughs anymore. He just eyeballed me as I walked away, and he was still there when I walked back, just watching me as I walked towards our apartment. I should have seen it coming, and I feel like such an idiot for not knowing what I was headed for. But I guess in hindsight, it's always 2020. Because a couple of nights later, I was just about to catch some sleep when Daryl finally comes home from work. He seems a little shaken, and asks me if anyone had called by the apartment that evening. I tell him no, it's been pretty quiet, but the answer doesn't satisfy him. He asks me if I'd seen anyone at all, anyone hanging around the area that I didn't recognize. I'd already told him about the second encounter that I'd had with the 7-Eleven guy, and this time it had creeped him out even more. He asked if I'd seen that same guy at any point that evening, and I told him no, that I hadn't seen him since that weekday evening. I turned the whole thing around and asked him why he was so nervous about this, if anything had happened at work that evening, but he was his usual cagey self. He just reteated. How long do I usually go live for because you fall asleep? Usually like 3 hours, I would say. 3 to 4. Maybe 2 to 4. He just retreated to his bedroom where he apparently went straight to sleep, which is exactly what I did too. Next thing I know, I'm waking up to this loud banging on the front door to our apartment. I had pretty much knew exactly what the deal was. Daryl had gone out to make a call, as he sometimes did at this time of night, and had left his keys in the apartment. This had happened a handful of times before, and I was honestly getting really sick of being woken up by it. I suggested he actually put his car keys and apartment keys on the same key ring, but nope, apparently that meant if he lost one set, he lost both, which maybe was quite a smart idea in the long run, but that's beside the point. So I'm all bleary-eyed, shuffling toward the front door in my underwear and a t-shirt when he starts banging again. I'm like, all right, I'm coming. Stop with the banging, Jesus. Before I undo the deadbolts and open the door, I start saying something like, you really should just attach those freaking keys, when I see it's not Daryl at all. In fact, I have no idea who the guy at the door is because he's wearing a freaking ski mask, and I have absolutely time or... Wait, what? Sorry. And I have absolutely time or will to ask him, and the other... I'm just like confused on what the fuck this is saying. I guess no time or... In fact, I have no idea who the guy at the door is, because he's wearing a freaking ski mask, and I have absolutely not the time or will to ask him, nor the other two idiots that he's with. because as soon as I open the door, he points a gun in my face and then frog marches me back inside the apartment before locking the door behind them. The ski mask guy makes me kneel on the floor in the TV room and whispers to me that if I shout or anything, he's going to blow my brains out. I was absolutely terrified. I mean, more scared than I've ever been in my entire life. I had these uncontrollable shakes, like I had trouble just holding my head up. It was more comfortable for me to just rest my chin against my chest and pray that it'd all be over soon. This had a dual purpose too, because the last thing I saw before I did so and shut my eyes tight was one of the guys placing an empty plastic bottle of the muzzle. Let me just scoot this over here. Where the fuck was I? Bottle. Sorry. Every time I lose my spot. There we go. Your voice reminds me of you of Nexpo sometimes. That's interesting. Am I friends with Nexpo? I used to talk to Nexpo, or back in his early days, but sometimes it's like everybody just kind of does their own thing on YouTube and doesn't really communicate all that much. This had a dual purpose too, because the last thing I saw before I did so and shut my eyes tight was one of the guys placing an empty plastic bottle of the muzzle on his pistol. Naive over something I was, yes, but I knew enough to know that this was some kind of ad hoc way to silence a shot. I didn't want to see what happened next, and I'm glad I didn't, because they burst into Daryl's room, and I heard the pop of that pistol as they shot him. I thought he was dead for a few minutes, like I was convinced that they just straight up executed him right there in his bed. And that was until they dragged him out of the bedroom, bleeding and cursing, and threw him down on the TV room floor a few meters away from me. The one guy kept his gun to the back of my head while they pretty much tortured Daryl right there in the TV room. One guy stamped on the bullet wound that he had, leaning on it with his sneaker, while the other forced his face into a couch cushion to muffle the screams. I mean, it was all obviously horrible what they were doing, and that was disturbing enough, but what really got me was how they seemed to enjoy the whole thing, how they seemed to take an immense amount of personal pleasure in causing us both as much pain and distress as was physically possible. It was like hearing Darrow's cries of pain was the funniest joke they'd ever heard, how the sight of his blood was the most fascinating, satisfying thing they'd ever seen, and it was then that it all came out. Like I said, you might have guessed what the deal was by now, but I pretty much had no idea back then. I was just so young and dumb. Daryl was a drug dealer and this was a robbery. So they beat the life out of him until he finally spoke up and told them where he kept his money in his stash. But I mean, for a while there, I thought they might have gotten the wrong place. Daryl flat out denied knowing what they were talking about and insisted that they got in the wrong place and how there was nothing to find there. But in the end, he broke and told them. They then took a clear... Oops. Lost. Well, basically, he's a drug dealer and they raided him, which I guess is pretty common. My voice kind of reminds you of the guy from Gremlins, Billy. Which one was that? Billy was... Wasn't that Fred Savage, right? Or no, maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. They then took to clearing him out, and from what he told me after, he'd been discharged from the Oh, I see. Rook X with the fives, at what age or time did your Let's Read voice come into its final form? Honestly, I mean, I started this channel back in 2014. I'm 30 now, so I was 24. I guess, back then I kind of had more of an NPR, hello everyone, and welcome to an NPR voice. I could do voices and stuff like that, jokingly, and all that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? But, I never really attempted to do a narrator voice or anything of that nature until I started the channel and just kind of fucked around. And then it wasn't until like 2016 that like the True Scary Story sort of thing, I feel like took hold. You know what I mean? And around that time is where I kind of found like my pacing, because before I used to have like, they took to clearing him out. And from what he told me after he'd been discharged from the hospital for a fairly sufficient, you know, like and then I mixed it up with something that felt more natural to my like natural cadence, and like, because sometimes I almost felt like my mind was moving faster than I was allowing myself to read, you know what I mean? Do I have any kids? I don't, no. Just Pradeep. But yeah, I finally found my sort of like typical, or what you would hear probably back in like 2016, 2017, I think. Yeah, this is like my normal talking voice right now. You know, maybe I could deepen a little bit or something like that, but this is basically what I talk like most of the time. I sound like a seductive computer voice. Yeah. You thought there were pre-recorded stories, but nope. I'm the goat, baby. I'm here in the flesh. In the fleshy flesh. They then took to clearing him out, and from what he told me, after he'd been discharged from the hospital for a fairly superficial gunshot wound to the shoulder, they'd taken him for about $20,000 plus. I had to cover Daryl's rent for a few months until he was well enough to get himself a real job. Turns out he was an actual college graduate with a business degree and was dealing in college to make a little money. When he graduated, the money came too easy that he just didn't bother to get a legit job. He wasn't a gangster. He just didn't have that kind of personality, which I suppose is what made him the perfect prey for the actual criminals that broke in that night. We got over what happened, but obviously Daryl still has this big old scar on his shoulder, a reminder of one of the worst nights of our lives, one that'll always be with us no matter where we go, or what we do, or who we become. That is scary. Have I considered ASMR? Yeah, I did actually. There was a period of time where I used to like do 4 videos a week, but basically it was like 2 videos, 2 normal length videos, but split in half. So I had like an extra day of the week to like kind of fuck around, and I would do like ASMR. It's called Let's Read ASMR. I have it linked in on like my channels tab on this channel, Let's Read. But eventually, when I got back into making 3 videos a week, it just I didn't have time for it anymore, and I just didn't really have the motivation to continue with it. Sam lived with a drug dealer in college. He was on the run. I had no idea until the police turned up. That's crazy. Yeah, you never really know about someone. The beard's credit. Yeah. Yeah, I wish I had time for everything. I wish I had time for the True Scary Stories channel. I wish I had time for, I wish I had time for ASMR. I wish I had time for a creepypasta channel. You know what I mean? And like pretty much everything. Like I'd love to just like dip my foot in it, but this channel has kind of come to sort of expecting a lot from me, like individually, where 3 videos a week. It does take a lot of my time, as you guys can see from sometimes streams can be like 3 or 4 hours, and then it can be like another 2 hours of editing, and then uploading, can be. So, I mean, usually I would say total amount of time for each video can be like 5 to 8 hours or something, it just depends. But obviously I really enjoy streaming with you guys. It's nice to interact, and yeah, erotica. Just not eating ASMR. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the eating ASMR stuff. It definitely makes me skeeved out. But to each his own, each his own. Yeah, combine both channels by doing stories that have muggers scratching balloons and microphone covers. Oi, hand it over here. Alright, so that was a good first story to start out, I think. Yeah, some people like ASMR, but sometimes I listen to it and I just like want to gag. I don't know, it's like the opposite effect for me. My family is a small farm here in Kirkwood, upstate New York. We grow a few veggies, keep a few chickens, nothing too spectacular, but it's home and we love it. But a little while ago, back in early 2019, we got woken up by something in the middle of the night that scared the absolute life out of us. We have this big front yard with flower beds and a big lawn, and that's where we keep the chickens and the dog, too. So me, my mom, and my dad were all sleeping one night when we're woken up by this huge crash in the front yard. I can hear our dog barking really, really loud and violently before there's like this yelping sound from it and he goes quiet. I walk out into the hallway and see my dad storming out of my parents' bedroom, rushing down the stairs to get his shotgun. Me and my mom were about to follow him outside to get a look at whatever was going on, but he yells at us to call the cops, stay inside, and not follow him out under any circumstances. My mom grabs the phone and I rush back into my bedroom to watch from the window. As soon as I look out, I see this car that smashed through the fence of our yard. Sorry, that sounded weird. Actually, this kind of reminds me of a story that my buddy had growing up. He lived on a farm that was along kind of like a major roadway, and in the middle of the night, a person like flipped their car or something, or like crashed into a tree or a telephone pole like directly in front of their house, and like drug themselves to their front door, just like bloodied and battered, and like asked them to call the ambulance, and then I believe the person like actually like legitimately died like waiting for the ambulance to get there and shit, and it was pretty fun. I don't know if he like experienced it directly, but I think it was pretty scarring for like his dad and stuff. It was nuts. Do you turn these live scary stories into videos? Also, every time you mess up with a story for a video, do you read the whole thing? No, yeah. So you'll notice that all of this stuff gets turned into a video. Like I have one microphone for recording, and then this other microphone for as I get close to it. That's the microphone for streaming. And no, yeah. When I mess up, I just go back like a sentence or whatever, and then start from there. And basically, my microphone has a button I can press to stop and start the recording and whatever, and then I just like edit it all together at the end. Me and my mom were about to follow him outside to get a look at whatever was going on, but he yells at us to call the cops, stay inside, and not follow him under any circumstances. My dad grabs the phone and I rush back into my bedroom to watch from the window. As soon as I look out, I see this car that smashed through the fence of our yard and torn up a section of our lawn. It's obviously really dark out, and the car's headlights are only lighting up a section of our yard, so I can't really see much outside of the beams. But I do see something that absolutely breaks my heart. It's our dog, lying on the front lawn, not moving at all. He looked really hurt. Something had really, really messed him up. But given that he was backing... Uh-oh. Trigger warning. Dog hurt. But it sounds like it's okay. But given that he was barking at the actual... Wait. But given that he was barking after the actual smash of the car, it couldn't have been the impact that hurt him so bad. Something else entirely. What I saw next was only because my dad had this little light attached to the end of his shotgun. He starts shining it around the front yard as I hear my mom calling 911 in the hallway, telling them that something horrible had happened at our address and for them to come as quickly as they could. Then my dad shines the shotgun light over towards the chicken coop, and I saw something that I continue to see in my nightmares for a long time to come. It was a man, completely naked from head to toe, kneeling among torn-out feathers and broken bodies, and he was sinking his teeth into the flesh of a still-living chicken that he held tight in his grip. Every time he bit into the chicken, it would flap and shake, making the most awful screeching noises as he tore more raw flesh from its body. My dad racked a shell into the chamber and started screaming at the guy to get out of the chicken coop. But the guy barely listens at first, just carries on ripping this big brown chicken apart with his bare hands and teeth. And by the time he does actually start listening to my dad, God, it was horrible. He looked right into the light of the shotgun so that his face was perfectly... Hello, Poppet. Yeah, hurt puppy now. Hopefully the puppy will be alright here, I'm sure. I hope so. He looked right into the light of the shotgun so that his face was perfectly lit up, and he smiled. There was blood and feathers all over his face and chin. He looked monstrous, totally insane, eyes bulging out of his sockets. I think even to this day it's probably the most terrifying thing I'd ever seen. I started banging on the window and begging my dad to come back inside. I was so scared the guy was going to attack him or something, and if he did, that Dad would shoot him, and I know it's maybe a little lame of me, but I just didn't want to see any of that. I was already distraught for seeing my dog just laying there all lifeless on the lawn, and I know I wouldn't be able to handle it. Why am I messing up so much? Handle it. Would you like cake? I'd like cake. Yeah, PCP or bath salts, who knows? Fucking hell. And operating a vehicle. You should really cook chicken first, that's what he should have said. He looked right into the light of the shotgun so that his face was perfectly lit up, and he smiled. There was blood and feathers all over his face and chin. He looked monstrous, totally insane, eyes bulging out of their sockets. I think even to this day it's probably the most terrifying thing I'd ever seen. I started banging on the window and begging my dad to come back inside. I was so scared the guy was going to attack him or something, and if he did, that Dad would shoot him. And I know it's maybe a little lame of me, but I just didn't want to see any of that. I was already distraught from seeing our dog just lying there all lifeless on the lawn, and I know I wouldn't be able to handle it if anything had happened to my dad. Luckily, the guy didn't bother doing anything to my dad at first. I think he was just so blinded by the light of the shotgun that he just sort of stared into the flashlight, hypnotized by it for a few seconds. But he soon rose up off of his knees, that bloody, twitching chicken still in his grip, and started to make a move towards my dad. As soon as he did, the sound of Dad's shotgun rang out as he fired a shot above the guy's head. But the guy hardly flinched. That's when I realized he must have been on some kind of drug or something, maybe meth or PCP or whatever. He didn't seem scared at all by the fact that he'd almost had his head blown off, but it was definitely enough to put him off from straight up attacking my dad. He just carried on smiling, though, kneeling back down among the chickens as he carried on ripping them apart. It felt like an hour before I finally saw the red and blue flashing lights of the cop cars coming down the road. But from what I learned later, it was only a couple of minutes before they actually arrived, since they happened to have a unit in the area already down highway patrol. When they arrested the guy, he got really crazy, and they had to actually use their tasers, which had little effect at first, and pepper spray on the guy just to get him on the ground. We later found out that the guy named John Many was actually from Florida. I wonder if it's Many. John Many. John Many. Jesus. Chicken dogs. We later found out that the guy named John Many was actually from Florida. We later found out that the guy named John Many was actually from Florida, that there had been a manhunt for him, and he'd somehow gotten all the way up to New York State using stolen cars and hiding himself away in trucks. We weren't the only place he'd attacked either, since he actually killed another dog on a different farm, maybe less than 2 miles away from us. That was definitely the most terrifying thing I'd ever woken up to in the middle of the night, by a long shot too. Thankfully, our dog survived. Yeah, of course he's from Florida. Florida man. He's everywhere and nowhere at the same time. Law enforcement's greatest enemy. All right. 2 stories in the baggie. 640 people watching right now. Hello, 640 folks. Jojo with the buckaroonie with some love and hearts. Thank you, Jojo. Florida man. I mean, I should just do straight up Florida man stories. I mean, I have like Florida stories from Florida or whatever. But, I mean, that would be, I don't even know, like, is anybody here from Florida that might have like experiences or something like that? With all of the crazy meth head alligator riding crazy boys. Jar Jar Star Wars movie. I hope so, dude. That'd be amazing. Jenna with a 20 Canadian maple syrup dollars said, hey, yeah, Jenna's in the house. How's the sexy Joel doing? I'm doing good. I'm just chilling. Doing even better with you here. Thank you so much, Jenna. Hope everything's going great up in Canada. Thank you. For the 20 buckaroonies. And Jojo with a 5. With that mic drop, baby. Mike Drizzy dropping. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the support there. Oh, yeah. Go follow my Twitter if you haven't already, at Let's Read Creepy. Go follow my Instagram, at letsread.official. And also go follow my Instagram meme page, at Horny Computer. It's litty titty. It's very funny. I've been enjoying the memes I've been throwing up there lately. They've been giving me the giggles. I got one of them wholly devoted to Jensen's Chills parodies, which is amazing. He's got that much content. Yeah, I can't handle those real Floridian. Do I do my own graphics? No, that's actually done by a good friend of mine, Robin Mikalsen. He's from Norway. He does all my thumbnails, does those background graphics. The first one, actually, when the stream was starting soon, that one was actually from Space Goose with 3 O's. He does a lot of awesome art. And, yeah. I'm very thankful to have met the good Robin Mikalsen, because he is very talented. And we just invested in some new, your guys' donos and support have gone to investing in some, like a visual arts website that he said gives him a lot more freedom to making thumbnails and stuff like that as far as art goes, so it's pretty sick. Jojo with the 10 buckaroo says, I'm from Florida. Love ya so much. Watch all your new and old videos, everything while I do my makeup. Thank you, Jojo. I appreciate that. Thank you for the 10, too. Clayton says, Tampa, where I'm from, has some extremely creepy stories. Oh, yeah. Anywhere is just hot. It seems like it eventually drives people nuts. Do I play Animal Crossing? I played it for like 3 days, and then I just like lost interest, you know? No offense to those who do like it. It's just not my cup of tea. I'm more of like, I need to shoot something in the face, you know? I was on the Doom side of things whenever those 2 games came out. You could see me writing a big boy horror book. That would be cool. I don't know what I would write about, you know? Scary stuff. I attempted, it's like almost not even worth talking about anymore, but it's been years. Like, I was starting like a science fiction thing. And I don't know. I have not like really expressed myself creatively, I feel like, in a long time, which kind of sucks. I don't know. It's just like, you know how like your creative energies, you can only like output them so much, and sometimes a lot of my like creative energy goes towards just doing the YouTube channel, and then whenever I want to do something else, I don't really I feel like all I want to do is just like go lift weights or go play video games or eat food or hang out with people and stuff. Okay. So, this will be story number 3. Do you know where the... oh, shit. Do you know where the... oh, shit. Do you know where the term nightmare comes from? Mare is an old English word meaning demon, or more specifically, incubus, which are said to be male demons who prey on women in the dead of night. The word incubus is derived from the Latin word incubere, which means to lie upon, which leads me to my next point, sleep paralysis. I've suffered from the phenomenon known as sleep paralysis ever since I was a child. For the small number of you who might not know what exactly that is, sleep paralysis is something that I can... fuck. For the small number of you who might not know what exactly that is, sleep paralysis is something that can occur while a person is either falling asleep or waking up where they are completely and utterly unable to move or speak. During such episodes, which thank God only tend to last a few minutes, a person might suffer hallucinations, both visual and audio. Audible? Audio? A jolkubus, yeah. You guys prepare for the... Audio relating to or perceived through the sense of hearing. Nice. The jolkubus is climbing on top of you in the night. During such episodes, which, thank God, only tend to last a few minutes, a person might suffer hallucinations, both visual and audio, which are absolutely skin-crawlingly terrifying. Like me, for example, I'd say some of the worst moments of my life have been during bouts of sleep paralysis. Sometimes I'll wake up in the middle of the night and hear this really faint, like hissing or buzzing noise coming from the other side of the bedroom. Sometimes it's just a low-volume static sound, but other times it's like I can hear whispers in the dark, along with a shadowy black figure that either manifests itself by standing in the corner of the room or something when the episodes are at their worst. Oh, whoops. Sorry, this sentence is like so fucking long. Along with a shadowy black figure... Shit. I need to take a drink of Wawa. My fucking throat. Sam says sleep paralysis is a bitch. Yeah, anybody else here have sleep paralysis? And if so, what do you see or hear or experience? You posted your dinner food in the Discord, nice. Yeah, go join the Discord, guys. Maybe Fry or Hannah or Lila could link that. Along with a shadowy black figure that either manifests itself by standing in the corner of the room or something when the episodes are at their... Sorry, this sentence sounds so fucking weird. Along with a shadowy black figure that either manifests itself by standing in the corner of the room or something when... And then it just cuts to, comma, when the episodes are at their worst, sitting on my chest, staring... We'll just... I don't know why the word or something is there. Along with a shadowy black figure that either manifests itself by standing in the corner of the room or, when the episodes are at their worst, sitting on my chest, staring down at me. Dude, why is my voice fucking crack? Oh my god. If it's not like one thing, like grammar, it's like my voice cracking. That's like the most annoying part where I like get a good thing going and then my fucking voice cracks. Along with a shadowy black figure that either manifests itself by standing in the corner of the room or when the episodes are at their worst, sitting on my chest, staring down at me. It used to traumatized. I was traumatized. I can't even make it past this fucking paragraph. Jesus Christ. It used to traumatize me as a child. I really did think it was some kind of ghost or demonic force that was visiting me during the night. Having such terrible bouts of paralysis obviously caused me to lose sleep, and it got so bad that I'd actually be straight up terrified of falling asleep in general. This just exacerbated my condition, as sleep paralysis can become much more frequent and potent while sleep deprived. It got to the point where, at around 13 years old, Dude, I need to shave my entire beard off. My, beard hair is, starting to climb into my nose. It's fucking bad. Yeah, the succubus is the female version. The incubus is the male version of, a sex demon. Sexy demons. This just exacerbated my condition, as sleep paralysis can become more frequent and potent while sleep deprived. It got to the point where at around 13 years old, I began to become so intensely depressed that I actually contemplated taking my own life. At the time I was suffering, there had been no major drug trials to find something to actually treat sleep paralysis, only secondary treatment plans that focused on antidepressants to treat the residual effects of the condition. My parents weren't willing to just dope me up at such an early age, so the focus for me in particular came in the form of education on what exactly was happening to me. I was taught to understand and get a handle on what the doctors called the catastrophic cognitions that are brought on by the bouts of paralysis. And once I actually understood what was happening to me and why it was happening to me, the episodes got a little easier to deal. Then, after about 6 months of going to a sleep therapist, not only did we manage to reduce the frequency and intensity of the episodes, but when they did actually occur, they were much more easier to deal with. And so it went, for years on years, until my condition was just something I learned to live with. My friends were aware of it. My boyfriends accepted it, comforting me where and when they could. Life with sleep paralysis wasn't so bad in the end. That was until last year, when it contributed to one of the most painfully terrifying experiences of my entire life. At first, it was a night like any other. Well, aside from the obvious episode. I had just moved into a new apartment, which meant I wasn't getting the best sleep possible. Little side note, when you first sleep somewhere new, half your brain actually stays awake. It's some kind of evolutionary benefit type of deal, supposed to keep you safe from saber-toothed tigers or whatever other dangers our primeval ancestors used to face. But no doubt it's something that comes in handy for our more recent predecessors. I'd spoken to one or two of the apartment building's occupants on the day I'd moved in, and one guy had been nice enough to actually help me sift. Do I stream on Twitch? I do not. The thing about streaming is I don't know, I might do well on Twitch, but it's just nice to have the audience here, you know? If I broadcast it on Twitch, I guess it would be a good way to kind of get myself out there, maybe. It's some kind of evolutionary benefit. Postal service stories, that would be interesting. I'd spoken to one or two of the apartment building's occupants on the day I'd moved in, and one guy had been nice enough to actually help me shift a few of the heavier boxes up the many flights of stairs. He was an older guy, slick-back salt and pepper hair with these small dark eyes, and he told me if I ever needed anything, to call up to his apartment on the top floor. He seemed like a kind, generous soul, exactly what the world needs more of. So on the night in question, I woke from a light slumber, lying on my back and instantly recognizing that old familiar feeling of tingling and numbness. Like a really diluted version of that pins and needles feeling when your foot goes to sleep. I heard that same hissing noise I had become accustomed to hearing, like the sound of leaking gas that seethed from the faint ripples, making it almost sound like the whispering of hundreds of voices, invisible people crowding around my bed. I heard that same hissing noise that I had become accustomed to hearing, like the sound of leaking gas that seethed from faint ripples, making it almost sound... God damn it. Dude, there's so many words that are like tongue twisters, like seethed. Say seethed. Like S-E-E-T-H-E-D. It's fucking hard to say. Seethed. Seethed. There's like way too many like syllables that just do not flow together. Seethed. Seethed. I do like this sentence though. It's a nice, like, description of what you would expect from sleep paralysis. Sir Crow with the $2 says, "Do you have a podcast?" I actually do. So it's the same, it's all the stuff from YouTube, but put together in like a long compilation form, and it's on, it's called the Let's Read podcast, and you'll recognize it based on my like skeleton astronaut avatar. Stretch my tongue. I need someone to pull on it. Yeah, so it's called the Let's Read podcast. Oh, hey, there's Pradeep scratching on my chair. I think he wants out. Yeah, and it's I'll be posting one this coming Monday on. So it's it's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, pretty much everywhere you can listen to podcasts, you'll find it. And yeah, they're like 3 hours long, which is pretty neat. Let me let this cat out, or no, maybe he just wants to chill here for a second. What's the donation sound? That's from Zelda. Hey, listen. I heard that same hissing noise I had become accustomed to hearing, like the sound of leaking gas that seethed with faint ripples, making it almost sound like the whispering of hundreds of voices, invisible people crowding around my bed. And just like when I was a kid, I caught sight of that horrifically familiar back shape out of the... Oops. I don't know how to say this, but Amelie with A. Amelie? Hopefully I'm saying that right. With the NT bucker, and he says, "Love from Taiwan. Drink some hot water, helps." Yeah, that's the one thing I didn't do, is I didn't get like tea ready before the stream. Hey, Electroshocker, what's up, bro? What is NT? Currency. The NT. Oh, new Taiwan dollars. Oh, what were the old Taiwan dollars? Taiwan sounds cool. Thank you again. Anyone play PUBG Mobile? I feel like playing a first-person shooter on the mobile would be really hard, unless you can like plug a controller into it. Is there a dead YouTube channel in here that someone still likes and visits sometimes? Huh, I don't know. Do you guys visit like any YouTube channels that are just dead, but like you still go there? I assume if there was like, if someone abandoned a channel or whatever, it would and if you liked it, you would go back to it, all the old archives, like watching an old TV show or something. And just like when I was a kid, I caught sight of that horrifically familiar black shape out of the corner of my eye. It just hovered in the darkness, a murky shadow silhouetted by the faint glow of orange streetlights on the road outside. I did what I'd trained myself to do over the years, try to control my breathing, letting the mantra, "It'll be over soon, it'll be over soon," just roll around my mind. What I was seeing, what I was hearing, none of it was real. It was... Alright, Pradeep, enough of your shit, dude. As soon as I say that, he sprints off. Let me let him out real quick.
Hey, listen.
Sorry. He's figured out how to manipulate me. Jenna Marbles' channel is RIP. Wonder why she stopped, you know? It seemed like a weird abrupt thing to me. Jenna, not Jenna Marbles, but another Jenna from Canada with the 10 maple syrup bucks says, my kitty, Mr. Marma, says, me wallow, Pradeep. I think they would get along. Though Pradeep, he does get along with other cats for sure, but he's also like, he likes to roughhouse, you know what I mean? He likes to sneak up on them and swat them and then wrestle and shit. And he's kind of a little bit of a bully, I would say, whenever other cats show up. He's a tough guy, a tough bloke. Oh yes, please like the vid and welcome all 700 people in here. Oh, alright. You draw while listening to Joel? Nice. A lot of people tend to draw while they listen to me, which is pretty cool, or do homework or something like that. Some cool little side task, which I think is pretty cool about, I feel like we're in the golden age of podcasting, you know what I mean, where, you know, you can just do something else while you're doing another thing, while listening to something, you know, you can do a trillion different things while listening to your podcast and just sort of passively take it all in, but it's not really demanding too much from you, you know what I mean? What I was seeing, what I was hearing, none of it was real. It was all just a waking nightmare, nothing more than that. The child that I had been terrified. The child I had been had been terrified out of her mind by the whispers, by the shapes, but the adult I had grown into could handle it like it was nothing more than a bad horror movie. But then for the first time in my entire life, for the very first time in all the years I've been suffering from sleep paralysis, I saw that shadowy figure in my peripheral vision actually move. I felt my heart begin to pound in my chest as I lost control of my breaths, watching as it slowly began to creep closer and closer to my bed. It was an entirely new and terrifying experience. I had learned to deal with my condition as it was, but this apparent evolution of the symptoms took me right back to that same terror I felt as a child. I was forced just to lie there, trying and failing to control my thoughts and breathing as the figure halted its steps at the edge of my bed. I hadn't been able to bring myself to actually look directly at it, not until it was so close, and besides that, I only had very minimal control over my facial muscles while my body itself is completely paralyzed. But something about the figure's face seemed strangely familiar to me. The structure and profile sparked something in my memory. Then, in a moment of pure, horrifying recognition, I realized who it was. It was the guy from the top floor, and the one that had helped me move boxes on the day I moved in. And this time there was no warning or Whoops. Holy shit, it's the dude. This took a 180 twisticle. And this time there was no warm or friendly look in his eyes, and his lips had curled into a hungry, wolfish grin. This was no hallucination. He was real, and he was actually standing over me, staring down at my paralyzed body. The moment after he reached down and peeled back the bed sheets to look at me, I clamped my eyes shut. I knew I wouldn't be able to feel what he was about to do, but I also knew I didn't want to have to see it either. The episode would be over in a minute or two, tops, and then I would be able to do something about it. What exactly that was, I wasn't sure, but that's the thought that got me through one of the most appallingly traumatic few moments of my life. By the time I started to sense the feeling returning my limbs and opened my eyes, there was no one in my bedroom anymore. I sat there on my bed for a minute, crying and shaking, second-guessing myself, wondering if that guy really had been there, or if it was just a horrible new evolution of my condition. But my bedroom door was open, and the hall light was on. All things that hadn't been the case when I'd gone to bed that night. I had no idea how someone would have gotten into my apartment, but I had to face the facts that, as they appeared to me, I had no idea how someone would have gotten into my apartment, but I had to face the facts as they appeared to me. The guy upstairs had been in my bedroom that night, and although I wasn't sure exactly what he'd done to me, he had done something, and it was something god-awful. The next morning, I called into work to let them know that I was taking a mental health day, but instead of just binging terrible TV shows on my couch with a pint of ice cream like I'd done in the past, I called the police. To put it bluntly, there wasn't a whole lot they could do about what happened. There was very little in the way of actual tangible evidence that there had been any intruders that night. They offered to do the whole... I can't say rape kit, so... They offered to do the whole assault kit thing, but as much as I wasn't entirely sure what they'd done, I was almost certain that they hadn't done that. I have to make it clear that as much as they couldn't help, the police officer I was put in touch with was extremely nice and suggested a bunch of different things to try and catch the guy, including installing what amounted to a nanny cam in my bedroom. But I opted for another one of her suggestions, which involved just getting out of that apartment block. Luckily, I had a close friend living nearby that offered to let me stay at their place until I could save up the money for a new flat deposit. They were only living in a small studio, and living there with them in such confined quarters did get us to... They were only living in a small studio, and living there with them in such confined quarters did get to us after a while, but I'll always be eternally grateful for the help they gave me during such a horrific time in my life. I think the only thing that really haunts me about the whole thing, aside from the actual memories of that night, are the fact that the guy who was in my room is, as far as I know, still free to walk among us. It's knowing that he still has the capacity to do something like that again, and I pray that no one else has to. And I pray that no one else has to go through what I did. Hey, Sir Crow, have a good night. I didn't miss a donation, did I? I thought I heard the noise and I was like, oh shit. Jojo with a $1 Thank you, Jojo. I hope, I was worried that I missed one of those. Angry Hobo earlier said, Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows. It's an awesome little YouTube channel, and I'm pretty sure they don't upload anymore. And there's one called Every Frame a Painting. Oh yeah, I've heard of Every Frame a Painting. That was about movies and going into all the science behind cinematography, which is sweet. Jojo with the $3 says bye-bye. Oh, are you leaving, Jojo? Well, have a good night, Jojo. Thank you so much for your generosity and stopping by. Do I have an inspiration for who started this channel? Well, my roommate, and they did YouTube stuff, and I just wanted to try it. You know what I mean? I just thought I was like, I can do this shit. And I started off reading, I thought reading was a unique idea on YouTube until I stumbled upon the creepypasta community. And, then I thought, okay, I guess this is where the reading culture is, you know what I mean, as far as reading horror stuff. So I got into creepypasta, which then led to True Scary Stories, and here we are today. So we're about to start story 4 in the series of 7. Wait, Eloquent, I missed a $30 donation? When was that? No, I got Jenna's, and there's no way I missed a 30, because that would have triggered a twerky twerk action. Let me see. There's no way I missed one. Oh, it was the 30 NT from Amelia with an A. Oh, yeah, I guess it was, from the Thai. Well, thank you for both those donations, Amelia. I'm sorry about that. Goodness. Yeah, I guess I did. Yeah, maybe they were really close together, and I totally Skipped her. You thought this was Ninja stream? Oh yeah, this is Ninja, baby. We about to headshot some kids. Wonder if Mr. Nightmare ever streamed, how that would go. I don't even know what he would do. I've always been curious, like, who he is, you know what I mean? Like, he's pretty much an enigma, even in the narrator community of people. Do I like Papa Mogi or Mama Pogi? One or two? I have no idea who those people are. You'll have to fill me in. So this will be story numero 4. Jan with the $20 big dono here says, love your channel. Thank you, Jan. Thank you. Good to see you. You thought this was the Joe Rogan podcast. So, what kind of drugs do you take? What's her name? Miley Cyrus was recently on Joe Rogan, and she sounded like an old aunt who's been smoking cigarettes since the time she could even hold one in her hand. Her voice is just like so raspy out now. But thank you again, Jan. An impromptu twerk. Well, not to be rude or anything like that. It was just that, so there's different currencies, you know, like they go based off of color. You can see which ones translate to, like, dollar amounts or whatever. And, like, so, like, the new that was like a new Taiwan dollar. So, like, a new Taiwan dollar is 0.034 US dollars. So that's why I didn't twerk. Not that I definitely appreciate a donation from anybody, you know what I mean? I just wanted to say that's why I didn't twerk, you know. Because I never miss an opportunity to twerk. You believe you me, baby. Thanks, Casey Wilson. Good to see you. Crystal, good night. Sleep tight. Don't let the home invaders bite. Twerk for the stream. Twerk for the stream. Do it for the vine. All right, so story 4. Kicking it off, baby. The scariest thing that ever happened to me in the middle of the night is also something that I thought was going to end in me losing my life. I've read a few of those scary middle of the night type stories and comments that, as much as they've been creepy, have ended with people just rolling over and going back to sleep. A nightmare. A wild animal banging on their window. That sort of thing. No offense intended, I'm sure those things scare the life out of them, but it's obvious that they weren't in fear for their lives. So, anyway, without further ado, this is the story of one of the worst nights of my life. So, on the night in question, I woke up at about 3 in the morning, feeling really, really bad. It took me a moment to work out just what was wrong with me, but I quickly realized that I had this intense burning sensation in my abdomen, like just to the right of my belly button. I was sweating so much my sheets were soaked, and as I rolled out of bed to turn the lights on, my heart rate went through the freaking roof. The muscle cramps were so bad that I was almost bent doubled over as I headed off into the bathroom to get some Tylenol. I mean, they were so bad that at first I thought my appendix might have burst, which, as some of you might well know, can be pretty serious. I stagger into the little kitchen of the apartment I was living in at the time to get a glass of water since I've never been able to dry swallow pills. Then I just sat there at the kitchen table for what seemed like a long time, until it got to the point where I was seriously considering just calling 911 and getting myself into an ambulance. I knew it would be a couple of grand just to get one over to my apartment, but there was no way I'd be able to drive out to the hospital with the pain as bad as it was. I'd crash my car and get myself killed long before whatever mysterious ailment I had managed to finish me off. Screw it. I eventually thought, and stumbled back in my bedroom to grab my phone to dial 911. As I'm online with the dispatcher describing exactly how bad the searing pain in my abdomen was, I found I just couldn't stand up anymore. So I sat back down on my bed as I'm grimacing in pain. My sheets were bundled up under my butt, and I know it sounds kind of dumb, but any kind of discomfort was just made utterly unbearable by the pain I was in. So I sit up and pull them out from under me, tossing them up near my pillows so I could just level myself out on the mattress. That's when I saw it. Lying on my mattress, all squished up and gooey from being crushed, was the biggest black widow spider I'd ever seen. My heart was already racing and I was sweating bullets, but seeing that thing sent me into an absolute panic. I pulled my shirt up and saw a bunch of that same spider's goo drying on my stomach, along with 2 telltale little holes where the spider had bitten me. I genuinely thought I was going to die if the ambulance didn't get there in time. I knew next to nothing about venomous spiders at the time, and I blurted out the revelation to the 911 operator, stammering about how something had bitten me and for the ambulance crew to please hurry. They did what they could for me, trying to keep me calm, but I was full on hyperventilating by that point, convinced that my life was in grave danger. Now, long story short, as incredibly painful and distressing as it was, one of the paramedics reassured me that fatalities from Black Widow's spider bites are extremely rare, and even though they'd been treating me with anti-venom, along with some serious doses of painkillers and anti-inflammatories, I was almost certainly going to be okay. The relief was palpable. I just remember crying my eyes out in the ambulance and all the exhaustion and pain and relief just pouring out of me as I thanked the paramedics before they wheeled me into the emergency room. It was a few hours for me to get the proper treatment and evaluation, but I was discharged soon after so I could catch a taxi back to my apartment. So, that's my story. And if anyone can learn anything from this, about how not to fly into a fit of panic when they're bitten by a Black Widow spider, then I suppose I might have earned myself a little good karma. Like obviously getting yourself the proper treatment as soon as possible, but don't be fooled by those intimidating red and black appearances and that horror movie name. Black Widows are a lot of bark, but a distinctly non-fatal bite. The only bad thing I've heard about Black Widow spiders is that, like, it can, like, create sort of a necrotic area of your skin, you know what I mean? And you can get, like, you know, just messed up scars and, you know, infections and stuff in areas of your skin or whatever that might not heal. Which would be poopy stinky stink. Hey Joel, does the holographic killer whale have a specific meaning behind it? Just curious. You know, I'm not really sure. I think that's something we'd have to ask Robin if it meant anything to him, because he kind of just threw that in there, and I don't know if it was just one of those, like, you know, computer models that he just, like, had available to go through. Fuck. I went to, like, sorry. I went to, like, I saw Sophie's donation, and I went to read it, and then I, like, choked on my own spit. So that's cool. Sophie says, "Oh, my browser can't support more than one tab at a time, so good luck receiving this message. Also, I have feelings for you." Well, thank you, Sophie. I appreciate that. Only one tab? That's weird. Wonder what browser that is. Yeah, I got COVID. But thank you, Sophie. Thank you. Appreciate the 5 and appreciate the heartwarming message, to be honest. It feels good. Should do a face reveal. Choke, daddy, choke. It's the black, probably bit by a Black Widow spider. There was one in my drink. Thankfully, they're not fatal. Joel died and we're all, yeah, that's going to be on somebody's video, like, my claim to fame is dying on a live stream. Aspiration pneumonia because of spit. Yeah, that's actually in the past has happened where I've taken a drink and just like breathed it in and then like didn't think to like properly expel all of it later, I guess, or like really just get it out, and then it like lingers in your lungs and builds up bacteria, which is, I guess, how you lead to certain pneumonias. But I guess maybe maybe my immune system was kind of shitty. I remember there was a time, when I first started working night shift as a nurse and just working a lot and then working out, where my immune system was completely shot, just fucking dog shit. Whenever I was, because basically I would get off of work at like, 8 a.m., close to 8 a.m., and get home and then immediately try to make it to the 9 a.m. workout class that I took, and then eat food and pass out around noon, and then just sleep until work again at night and just repeat the process. And it definitely was tough. Diego, good luck with that. I don't really have much to say to them other than cut my fucking taxes. Gonna submit a story, hobo? Nice. That's sick. Yeah, Google image search let's read face reveal. And thankfully, I'm not there. That's weird. What's this one? Face reveal, oh my god. Oh, from Alex Apps. Okay, I don't know who that is. What the hell? Why is there a picture of B Busta in my... Oh, that's weird. Anyways, sorry to get sidetracked there. The Witcher 3, any thoughts? I never played through The Witcher 3. I just remember it being really hard out the gate, and I just, like, it was difficult, and I don't know, I just wasn't, like, in the mode to, like, put time into it. Don't be shy, show your face. There's a painting of me on the Discord. You can search for my username on there and on the selfies and find a rendition someone did of me. Whatever. Would you ever, instead of having a normal bed, sleep in a swagged out coffin instead of a bed? I don't know if the coffin was fucking comfy, but I imagine I'm like I like to roll around and shit, you know what I mean? Roll on my side, roll back over onto my back, roll onto my other side. And if I didn't really have like, it would have to be like a fucking king size Tempur-Pedic purple mattress coffin, like sponsored by Purple Mattress or some shit. Which I certainly hope Dracula had. Dracula. Anorak, what's up? Do I happen to know how the great Robin Mikalsen makes the visual effects? I can't find anything how he does it. Yeah, so join the... you could message him. He probably would message you back. And, like, he honestly, like... Jensen recently has been getting into Blender and Cinema 4D. I think he uses Cinema 4D or something like that. I could be wrong. But he's always in the Discord with us from time to time, like... And he'll be streaming, like, what he's working on. And he really gets excited about, like, teaching people. And, you know, he loves teaching people how to, like, do different stuff and passing on that knowledge. So definitely feel free to join. Do I know Shrouded Hand? I don't think I know Shrouded Hand. There's so many random, like, up-and-coming narrators. Perfection, imperfection. Yeah, I showed it on it was on Discord. Like, I had a bunch of selfies of me up there for a while, and then I just, like, randomly one day I'm just, like, not feeling it anymore. Don't really... I don't know. You know. I feel like having your right to anonymity is a good thing to have. You know what I mean? Because I feel like sometimes people get too obsessed with knowing too much about their favorite content creator. You know what I mean? And sometimes you just need a little bit of a space, one or two spaces. All right, now we're about to pronounce some place from the UK that I'm not sure I'm gonna say right. It's called Hemel Hempstead. Are you guys familiar with Hemel Hempstead? H is in high. E is in dress. He. M is in my. Hem. Okay, and okay, Hemel. Yep. Cool. I just figured out Wikipedia actually has like a little thing on the side of a place that like walks you through how to pronounce a word, which is pretty badass, even if they don't have the outright like recorded pronunciation. If I woke up to a bunch of fans breaking in. Are you in trouble for seeing my true form? Oh, yes. You will pay. Okay, the Hempstead. H is in high. E is in dress. M is in my. P is in pie. Hemp. S is in sigh. And then. What? T is in tie. Wait, whoops. Oh, okay. Hempstead. Hemel Hempstead. Okay, I see. The I, or like the EA in the middle is pronounced like kit. So Hemel Hempstead. Hemel Hempstead. Wait, I is in kit. Want to play Minecraft? I'm not really a Minecraft kind of person. I don't know. I just like I play the shit out of Overwatch all the time, and it drives me insane. And it's a very right now it's in such a shit spot because they just get completely donkey dicked on shields. So being in a shield is like gone, and now it's like just all hogs and Zaryas as the tanks, and then snipers because they have complete sightline of everyone without a shield. And it's just like not fun anymore. It's just fucking stupid. There was a time where like Overwatch was in a good spot, and I don't know, but then they just like they always fuck it up because I think they're trying to like keep people's attention on the Overwatch League or whatever. Have I played Skyrim? Actually, I have played Skyrim and I love it, but I heard that there was this thing on Steam for free. If you own Skyrim, you can play this game called what the hell is it called? If you own Skyrim, play for free. I forget what it's called. I'll have to look it up. But yeah, there was like a game. There's like it's like a full-on like additional game to Skyrim, like in a whole different story, whole different world, crafted all this new. If you guys are familiar with it, I can. Please let me know because I'm totally spacing on what the fuck it's called. It's like. It's not like Hammerfell, but it's like some random word like that, you know? I play League of Legends. You know, I never got into like MOBAs. I tried to play HOTS, but like just not really a fan of like MOBAs. And whenever like I click a lot, like I don't know why I'm just like inclined to like click over and over again to move my character, and it just like I don't know, it just like fucking fucks up my wrist, you know what I mean? I grew up in a place called Hemel Hempstead here in the UK. It's a fairly small but old town just over 20 miles outside of London. Nothing much happens there. It's honestly a pretty boring place. But it currently wasn't boring in December of 2005. In fact, something happened down there that I don't think anyone who was around for it will ever forget. So picture the scene. It's almost Christmas for 17-year-old me. Decorations are going up all over town. Christmas songs are starting to be getting played on the radio, and with every day that passes, the town center is getting busier and busier with everyone doing all their Christmas shopping. Saturday evening of the 10th of December was one pretty much like any other. I played a lot of football in the park with my mates in the afternoon, then got home just after dark to tuck into the Indian takeaway that my dad brought home pretty much every Saturday, a fond little tradition we had going at the time. Mum and Dad stayed up quite late, just watching telly and working their way through a bottle of wine while I stayed up in my room playing PC games until about 2 a.m. the next morning. I was absolutely exhausted by the time it came to climb into bed, and I drifted off fairly quickly, having planned on sleeping until late Sunday morning. But just a few hours later, I found myself jolted awake by something horrifically loud. I rolled over in a fright, and because it was still dark at the time of the morning, it took me a minute to work out that there was broken glass all over my bed and all over my carpet. The windows in my bedroom being completely and utterly smashed in, and there was this deep rumbling sound grumbling all over the neighborhood outside. I had no idea what was going on, but I remember my first thought being that our house was being violently burgled or something, so I threw my trainers on to not cut my feet on any of the broken glass before getting up to run into my mom and dad's room. And that's when I caught a glimpse of the open windows. In the distance, this huge, bright orange fireball was rising up into the sky. I mean, it was absolutely massive and looked almost identical to the kind you see after a nuclear explosion. Dude, someone's gonna bitch at me for saying nuclear. Nuclear. I don't know why. It sounds like nuclear, you know? Nuclear explosion. Like, it just sounds like when you look at it, it's like, it just looks, but it's like nuclear. Apparently it's just nuclear. I'm gonna look it up real quick because I think it's bullshit that is not pronounced how I want it to be pronounced.
Nuclear.
Wait. Nuclear. It is 3 fucking syllables. People fucking bitch at me every fucking time I say it on my stream. Oh, not my stream, but in the comments of a video. They're like, it's not nuclear, it's nuclear. And like, alright, let me turn this guy's voice down real quick, but listen to this.
Nuclear.
That's 3 syllables, right? Nuclear, right? 3 damn motherfucking syllables. That's what I'm saying, dude. It's not nuclear. It's not what it is. Dude, I swear to God, for years I would say nuclear. That sounds right, doesn't it? Nuclear bomb. Oh, maybe because I said nuclear. Maybe because I said like Q, emphasis on the Q. But it's weird how much it triggered them that I was like fucking deviating at all. Nuclear. Maybe because I said nuclear. Like I'm gonna buy some nuclear soda. Call them Hermione's and go, but yeah. Fuck off, Hermione. Just a bit of light reading. Nuclear. Oh. Nuclear. Dude, I don't even know. Potato in my fucking book, honestly. Like, I don't even give a shit. Bacon Tatas, that's a great name, with the 5 Canadian maple syrup bucks, says the game you were thinking of is Enderall. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Yes, if you guys own Skyrim on the PC already, Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, you can buy for free, get a game for free. It's called Enderall. I can't pronounce anything today. And it's a legit, like, full-on, like, expansion, but like a full-on game. Like totally similar bit with the same engine, voice acted, new map, new story, and I hear it's pretty badass, honestly, which is pretty sick. I don't know who did it or who made it, but apparently you can just like download it, and it's not even like, I mean, they make their mods pretty easy anyways. Can I go on with the story? I could try that. I mean, it was absolutely massive and looked almost identical to the kind you see after a nuclear explosion. I was absolutely horrified. Like I legitimately thought someone had dropped a bomb on the UK, and 1,000 terrified thoughts rushed through my head all at once, picturing the nuclear apocalypse that would inevitably follow. The entire world was about to be thrown into a horrific atomic dark age, and I believed that I was witnessing the first moments of it. Right then, my dad came running into my room to check if I was okay, and when he saw that fireball and uttered a shell-shocked, "Oh my God," he had a fear in his eyes that I'd never seen before or since. We both watched for a moment as fires engulfed a huge spot on the horizon, and big patches of the starry night sky were being totally blocked out by smoke. Then we saw and heard more explosions, flashes of orange on the horizon, and these weren't nearly as big as the first one. So at the time, I was obsessed with this game called Fallout 2. It was a bit of a cult hit at the time. Not all that many people had heard of it, unlike now when all the other games have meant that... They do mention Fallout, that's funny. Slippery, sexy, wet dream, thank you. Slippery, sexy... Okay. It was a bit of a cult hit at the time. Not all that many people have heard of it, unlike now, when all the other games have meant that pretty much every game... What does that mean? Unlike now, when all the other games have meant that pretty much every gamer on every platform is familiar with the Fallout universe and all its entails. I don't know why that's confusing. It was a bit of a cult hit at the time. Not all that many people have heard of it, unlike now when all the other games have meant that pretty much every gamer on every platform is familiar with the Fallout universe and all its entails. I absolutely love Fallout 2. I still do, because it completely captured my imagination and filled me with a morbid fascination with all things atomic warfare related. That sounds a bit daft in retrospect, and maybe it was just how tired and frightened I was. Fuck. Nuclear. Nuclear bomb. What story are we on? Story 5 of 7, baby. Insert Fortnite reference. I think Fortnite was probably a net negative for society. I feel like that's pretty safe to say. Like, I think, you know, before COVID, one of the greatest pandemics to strike the earth was probably Fortnite. It sounds a bit daft in retrospect, and maybe it was just how tired and frightened I was, but I really did think it was the end. But Dad was quick to reassure me, in a pretty grim way to be honest. "It can't be a nuclear bomb," he said, still sounding pretty shaken. "I mean, if it was, we'd all be dead, son. Quick as a flash. Besides, there's an oil shortage place out this ways, isn't... Oil shortage, fuck. Sophie with the 3 says, "Can I go down in infamy for making you choke on your water? I want to believe it's my fault in a non-threatening way." I think you can. That just the mere sight of your donation had thrust me into a asphyxiation. Thank you again, Sophie, for the 3. I appreciate it. Okay. I mean, if it was, we'd all be done, son. Fuck, why can't I... Sorry. I mean, if it was, we'd all be dead, son. Quick as a flash. Besides, there's an oil storage place out those ways, isn't there? It's gotta be that. And he was dead right. Because the morning of the 11th of December 2005 was the day the Hertfordshire oil storage terminal blew up, in what became known as the Buncefield explosion. From what Actually, let me just check real quick to make sure. Hertfordshire? Well, first, I think Hertfordshire is pronounced right, but... Or no, it's probably Sheer or some shit. Fucking UK pronunciation, mate. Okay. Hertford... Oh, they actually have it. Fuck yeah, dude.
Hertfordshire.
Hertfordshire oil storage terminal blew up in what became known as the Buntsfield explosion. Alright. Hertfordshire. What the fuck? Shit. Who did I miss there? Oh, Angel Parish with the 1. Thank you, Angel. Wait. I wonder if there's any videos on it. Hopefully this isn't loud as fuck. You know what's so stupid about news websites anymore is that you always have to go through a paywall to get through it. You know what I mean? I don't know. Alex, your leg day soreness is upon you. That's why, like, I can't wait to get back to the standing desk, because once his ankle's like fully good to go, which I might just do it anyways here soon, because like whenever I do leg stuff and if you sit for long periods of time, you just get so fucking tight. What country am I in? I am in the America. I am in America, the United States of America. What the hell is this called? No, fuck. I literally totally forgot. Buntsfield. Buntsfield. Come on, dude.
This fuel storage facility outside of London that went up in flames.
This was a truly explosive
engineering
disaster.
Engineering disaster.
It was absolutely extraordinary. I've never seen anything like it. It was just such a huge wall of flames.
Alright, whatever. Just fucking say that.
This was a disaster just waiting to happen.
Yeah.
With hazardous substances like these, there is simply no margin of error.
Every opening's gotta feel like it's talking about the cosmos. Alright, here we go.
Across the world, every major economy relies on oil. Massive amounts of it.
Jesus Christ. How long does it say the word Buntsfield? Do you guys know how to say it? Yeah, normally I have a standing desk that
Sunday, the 11th of December,
Oh, here we go.
Hertfordshire Fire and Rescue Service was called to an incident in the Buntsfield area of
Alright, that's exactly what it was. I wasted all that time. Hertfordshire. Okay. Hertfordshire oil storage. Yeah, I normally do air squats. I could technically. And he was dead right, because the morning of the 11th of December 2005 was the day the hearts. Oh fuck, dude! How do I have the fucking memory of a goldfish. Can't fucking remember how to say goddamn anything.
Hertfordshire.
Hertfordshire. Cool, thank you. And he was dead right, because the morning of the 11th of December 2005 was the day the Hertfordshire oil storage terminal blew up in what became known as the Buntsfield explosion. From what I read later, the first explosion, the one that blew our windows out, happened just after 6 a.m., and firefighters were on the scene less than 10 minutes later. It was all because of a fuel leak, apparently, quite a slow one that caused a vapor cloud that was eventually ignited by something, causing a gigantic boom that was apparently the biggest explosion in Europe since the end of World War II. I know the bang had smashed out windows for miles and all that, which actually still boggles my mind to this day, but you really didn't get a sense of the destruction until the sun had risen a little bit, and you saw the cloud of smoke rising from the oil terminal. It was Fuck. It was gargantuan. It was gargantuan. And I know I can't get it across in words, like, if you get a chance, Google it and you'll see what I mean. It blocked out half the bloody sky, like I've only seen things that big in freaking Godzilla movies and stuff. It was so massive it was like your brain just couldn't even compute the size of it. I really haven't seen anything as big before or since. About 2 hours after the explosion, we got a knock on the front door from the police, telling us and our neighbors that we had to evacuate our houses for safety reasons. Not only was there broken glass everywhere, but apparently local authorities were extremely concerned that the wind might change and that the huge smoke cloud would engulf the area, which, as you can imagine, would have been really bad news for us. We ended up staying in a hotel for a few days, and as weird... Fuck. Barney is a dinosaur from our imagination, and when he's tall, he's what we call a dinosaur sensation. Barney's friends are big and small. They come from lots of places after school. They meet and play. Uh-oh, Isaac's lost his fucking mind. Everybody's gone nuts. When your generator explodes. Yeah, we have like transformers around here. We'll hear like explode and the power will go out. You're just like, boom, and then the power's out. But usually it comes back on pretty quick. Aileen, 4 minutes to your B-Day. Happy B-Day. We ended up staying in a hotel for a few days, and that was a weird kind of silver lining. We got a few days off of school since a lot of similar damage was done to the buildings there, and they had to get structural engineers in to give the place a look over before they announced it was safe. I'm not traumatized by what happened that morning, but all in all, the Buncefield explosion was one of the most terrifying experiences of my life, and one that I will never, ever forget as long as I live. What the fuck? Oh my god. Someone's name is literally Let's Read Official has donated $1. Thanks, Papa bless. Did I just donate to myself? What the fuck's going on there? Sassy, you just had your 50th birthday. Nice. Halfway there. Till you're as old as Bilbo Baggins. Well, I guess Bilbo was... It's my 111th birthday. Was Bilbo Baggins married? These are things I was wondering the other day. I was like, was Bilbo Baggins married? And did the hobbits have a religion? Like, I don't really hear about many religions in Lord of the Rings, and I wasn't sure if the hobbits had their own, like, little religion, you know what I mean? And also, were the hobbits, like, specific only to the Shire? Like, why were there only, like, little halflings there, and not, like, spread out over a really wide range? It's my twin. Twin Bazils. Twins. With a name like Bilbo. Bilbo's... Imagine being 111 years old and still single. Probably be me. Curious Queen, your birthday's in 5 days. Nice. So this is story numero 60. Numero 60. What's my favorite animal and favorite show? Shit, that's a tough question. I like dogs. I always wanted to play with baby tigers. So, mix that together and I guess you could have Tiger King. He was never married and they only lived in the Shire. None liked to go on adventures into the world of men. Oh, that makes sense. Oh, okay, so the world was just populated by, like, solely men. Jen Child with the 5 says, gotta sleep, kids. Thanks, let's read night. Night, Jen. Thank you for the 5. Get the dono hype train moving. Woo, woo. Woo, woo. How was he Frodo's uncle? Wait, was he Frodo's uncle? I guess they're all like somebody's uncle there if they're all like inbred.
Hey, listen.
The rest of Middle-earth had never seen a hobbit, halfling, or thought that they were extinct. Ah, interesting. Do you think Earth, like ancient Earth and stuff, had like crazy shit that was from Lord of the Rings? Fucking halflings and dragons and orcs and shit. Did he really imprison Marie? That's fucking sucks, poor guy. Okay, story number 6. Okay, so we're going back a few years here to when I first moved out of my mom and dad's house and into my first ever apartment. It wasn't the most luxurious place to live, not by a long shot. A lot of stuff needed fixing up. The plumbing was terrible. Jesus. I could see that being like a British term for plumbing. Will you check the plumbing? Oi, the plumbing's backed up. There's shite, all down it. Lord of the Rings is a documentary. Goddamn right. El Hermanos wants a high five. Everybody give him a high five. Bilbo and Frodo did stuff. Yeah, they fucking saved the world from Saruman. A lot of stuff needed fixing up, and the plumbing was terrible. And the bed spray. Dude, I'm on a fucking roll of fuck-ups. A lot of stuff needed fixing up, and the plumbing was terrible, and the bed springs creaked with every little movement I'd make at night. But it was cheap, really cheap, and for someone like me with a low-paying service job, it gave me a lot of extra disposable income that I could spend and save. So about a month or so into living in that little apartment, the ceiling fan in my bedroom started making these weird clicking noises. I could put up with some sketchy plumbing, as long as the shower and the toilet flush still worked, but this was the middle of summer in Miami, and not beachside either. So if that thing decided to stop working, trying to get to sleep would be pretty unbearable. I called the landlord, let him know the problem, and he said he'd send a repair guy out as soon as he could. But then when the guy turned up and checked the ceiling fan out, he basically said, like, there's nothing wrong with it, it's just old. And young and dumb me just trusted that he was right. So one night, it's extra hot and humid, so I turned the ceiling fan up so the setting's just before the full black. Wait, what? I'm about to rail some Adderall to bump out these last two stories. Let's go! Also, Pradeep wants in, and he's fucking crazy, so let him in real quick. He's in an excited delirium. He jumps directly in my seat. Oh my god. He's so naughty. He's such a naughty, naughty boy. He's doing naughty things. Oh, I wonder if you guys can hear him purring. Maybe not. I don't think he's purring. He was purring for a second. Okay. Return of the Jedi's goat. Yeah, definitely better than all the other most recent. Actually, I was gonna hold him in my lap, but he's gonna probably be fidgety because he's a fucking cat who's crazy. Your cat's 19 years old. Holy shit. That's nuts. I saw a cat on Reddit today that was 29. It's like, holy shit. And it just like really wanted him to be petted. Oh, you just recognized the ELO logo in the back. Yeah, Robin said he inserted some cool shit into there that some people would recognize, so that's pretty funny you recognized it. A lot of stuff needed fixing up, and the plumbing was terrible, and the bed springs creaked with every little movement I'd make at night. But it was cheap. Really cheap, and for someone like me with a low-paying service job, it gave me a lot of extra disposable income that I could spend and save. So about a month or so into living in that little apartment, the ceiling fan in my bedroom started making these weird clicking noises. I could put up with some sketchy plumbing as long as the shower and the toilet flush still worked, but this was the middle of the summer in Miami, and not beachside either. So if that thing decided to stop working, trying to get to sleep would be pretty unbearable. I called the landlord, let him know the problem. He said that he'd send a repair guy out as soon as he could. But then the guy turned up and checked the ceiling fan out. He basically said, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just old. And young, dumb me just trusted that he was right. So one night, it's extra hot and humid, so I turned the ceiling fan up to the settings just before full blast before climbing into bed. I can hear it making those clicking sounds like extra loud as I'm drifting off, but I put on a podcast on my phone to kind of drown it out and drift off. Besides, rhythmic sounds like that aren't the worst thing, and a lot of people like myself find that they can actually get to sleep like that. I mean, some people even use an actual metronome to kind of hypnotize themselves into getting to sleep. But it might have been a few hours later when I woke up to a whining, whirring sound coming from above me. I couldn't quite work out where it was coming from at first, and in my tired state I rolled over and had to flick on the bedside lamp before I could figure out what exactly was making that noise. It was the ceiling fan. And right when I look up, I see how it's spinning all loose on its moorings, how it's looking increasingly out of control. Then all of a sudden, it cracks out of the actual ceiling and comes hurtling down towards me, right towards my face, while spinning ridiculously fast. I thought that was it right there, how that ceiling fan was about to take my head clean off, or at least do so much damage to me that I'd bleed to death right there in my bed. It's so weird when I look back at it, like they say the time slows down in situations like that, and in a sense they're right. It obviously didn't happen in slow motion, but I remember such bizarre details when I look back at it, how I noticed a little puff of plaster as soon as the fan came loose, how I noticed how dusty the old thing was as it got closer and bigger, plunging towards my face. Instinctually, I lay back down and tried to cover my face, letting out a screech of fear as I did so, then just kind of waiting for the pain to hit. But right as it was about to smash into my face, right as it was about to rip me up beyond all recognition, whatever electrical wire that it was hooked up to suddenly grew taut and held it right there in the air above me, stopping it from crashing into me. All that hit me was a little of the ceiling plaster and some dust, and I remember that weird anticlimactic feeling to this day, like it's burned into my memory. But it wasn't quite over there. Oops, that sounded weird. You identify as a hobbit, being 4'11". You're tall for a hobbit. Yeah, how tall were hobbits usually? But it wasn't quite over there. It was still spinning really, really fast, and because it wasn't locked into the ceiling anymore, it was like swaying back and forth in the air above me, maybe only like few inches above my body, and I wasn't sure how long it was going to hold. I had to really, really carefully slide off of my bed, still terrified that the spinning blades were going to cut me up. It was painstaking. Move too quick and I might clip my head or a knee on the fan. Move too slow and I might just still be under it when the thing fell down on top of me. I made it out from under that thing and rushed towards the wall-mounted control unit before turning it off completely. I had knocks on my door from neighbors soon after who thought that there had been a home invasion or something. Every single one of them gasped when they saw just how close I'd been to being sliced and diced by the freaking ceiling fan. I slept on my couch that night, or rather, tried to sleep. I was still pumped with adrenaline from having the whole thing happen. The next morning, if you can believe it, the landlord actually blamed me for what had happened, flicking back and forth between telling me that I had it spinning too fast to not properly communicating the problem to the lazy repair guy who'd come out to check on it. It was absolutely outrageous, and only when I'd threatened civil litigation did he actually relent and agree to a rent reduction for the next few months to apologize. He ended up having a whole new ceiling fan installed, but you can bet your bottom I rearranged my bedroom so that my bed wasn't underneath that fan anymore. Sure, it was a little less comfortable getting to sleep during the summer, but after what happened that night, I just wasn't about to risk it. Let's just say I've had to wear a complex. A wear complex? The fuck is a wear complex? Grandma shut the car door in your hand? Hold it. Yeah, my mom did that to my one finger and it like bent backwards. It was thankfully able to just like pop in, but it was swollen as fuck. Holy shit. And I was scared. I was like, I remember like when it happened, I was just like, mom, my fucking finger. And she's like, oh my god. It was weird. Let's just say I had a wear complex about ceiling fans ever since, and I never ever set them to full blast, no matter how hot it is. Do I have any hobbies? Yeah, just video games and going to the gym and lifting weights. Hang out with friends, you know. But other than that, nothing really too creative beyond YouTube. You shut your sister's finger in a door once. My mom shut the hatchback trunk on mine. Yikes. Yeah, it's always good to check your fucking surroundings before you slam a door shut. Do I have any favorite words? I think my favorite is probably the word specificities. Maybe like microb. She plunged your hand into the ice cream. Oh my god. Rip ice cream. Alright, my friends. Well, we have reached story numero 70, which is the last story of the night. And we're banging those out pretty quick. I guess it's been about 2.5 hours, which is usually about, like 3 hours is usually about the length of my streams. The length. My favorite food. I love fucking lasagna, dude. I mean, I don't love fucking lasagna. I just love lasagna itself. You know what I mean? But I feel like for as much as I love it, I might as well get intimate with it from time to time. I am shoving it directly into my mouth. You closed a van door on your finger. Didn't break, luckily. Oh god, yeah. Yeah, I guess if it gets it at certain spots, but Jesus Christ, it's fucking scary. Hey Gabe, have a good night. Zola has entered your room. Oh shit. Zola is in the house. Yes, I hate Mondays, and I love picking on Odie, and I love giving my owner John Arbuckle shit with my thought bubbles. I live here in Detroit with my cat named Bruce. He's honestly my whole world, and I love him to pieces. And that's down to much more than him just being a sweetie pie. So now I'll tell you the story of why my cat means the absolute world to me, and when I'm done, you'll see how I'm not just some crazy cat lady and understand exactly how much I owe to my little guy. So one night, a couple of years back, Bruce woke me up by pawing at my face. Now this wasn't something entirely new. Sometimes he'd wake me up during the mad half hour that most cats seem to enjoy in the middle of the night, jumping up on the shelves in the TV room and knocking things over. This is why we can't have nice things, Bruce. But this was definitely the first time he'd ever gotten up onto my bed and actually pawed at my face, and since I had work early the next morning, I was not best pleased. Whoops, that sounded weird. Sophie with a 1 says, Hobbit fucks lasagna. They might. I guess they're, you know, that might be one of the Hobbit's kinks. You never know. But this was definitely the first time he'd ever gotten up onto my bed and actually pawed at my face. And since I had work the early... Blarg. Fish are friends, not food. This was definitely the first time he'd ever gotten up onto my bed and actually pawed at my face, and since I had work early the next morning, I was not pleased. So I give him a gentle shove off of my bed. I know it sounds mean, but he can take it. And tell him what a rude young man he was being waking me up like that before I roll over and drift off back to sleep. But then he does it again, climbs up onto my bed and starts pawing at my face again while doing these high-pitched little scream meows. Now, I always feed Bruce before I go to bed, to stop this exact kind of thing from happening, so I politely remind my little guy that he does in fact have food in his bowl and that if he ate it all, I'm not giving him any more. The last thing I wanted was for him to be one of those fat cats with their tummy fur rubbing against the ground whenever he walked anywhere. So again, I pushed him off the bed, tell him to behave, and try to get back to sleep. I suppose you can imagine what happened next, right? Yep. Right as I'm about to drift off, he does it again. I'm pretty furious by this point. I am in no mood whatsoever to have my sleep disturbed over and over again, so I get up, scoop him into my arms, and walk him into the other room with the intention of putting his water and food in there and leaving him until morning with a few of his toys. But right as I get into the hallway of my apartment, I smell it. Gas. There was an actual freaking gas leak in my kitchen. Not a huge amount had leaked, but over the course of the night it might have well have filled up my kitchen and the hallway. Not to mention the fact that I'm a smoker. I love a cigarette with my morning coffee, so there's every chance that if that gas didn't actually suffocate me during the night, I'd have gotten up the next morning, lit up my morning smoke, then boom, I'd be a goner. I'm pretty sure Bruce saved my life that night. If it wasn't for him pawing at my face over and over again, there's a pretty good chance that I might not be here to tell you guys this little story of mine. So I'm guessing, god damn it, Pradeep, he'll like climb up high spaces and then just jump off them for no reason. And Pradeep's trying to warn me about gas that's coming out of his butt right now, probably. If it wasn't for him pawing at my face over and over again, fuck, dude, why is my voice crinky and crackle? There's crinkle and crackle, and sprinkle and sprackle. If it wasn't for him pawing at my face over and over again, there's a pretty good chance I might not be here to tell you guys this little story of mine. So I'm guessing you can all see why I love my little hero so much. I mean, I love cats. I've always adored the little furballs, way more than dogs too. No offense to them. But Bruce is probably the reason I'm actually still alive right now. And for that, I will always be grateful. Do I have any personal experiences myself? Well, I was telling you guys last time about like some of my buddies. My buddy's mom died, and then they had her cremated and up on the mantle. And then in the night, they thought they heard the front door, like, you know, as they're sitting in the living room, like opening and shutting. It's right beside them. And they're like, what the fuck? That's weird. That never happens, you know, even if it's windy. And like, and then this was the scary part, I guess, but they said that, yeah, the flowers that were up on one of the shelves that someone brought were like thrown off of the shelf, like kind of halfway across the room. And they're like, what the fuck? And then they watched the cat, like, watch something walk across the room, like followed its head up the steps to the landing and then all the way up to the top steps. So that was like something paranormal that happened to somebody like pretty close to me. And then that night when he was telling us, there was a picture near her ashes, and this was made me wonder if it wasn't actually her or something like that, you know, because I don't really know what the fuck goes on with the paranormal world at all. I mean, I don't really think any of us really do, but there was a big like crack in the form of an X through a picture of him on, you know, his like picture that he had up on the shelf that his family had up. And it was just like this perfect X through his face, you know, and it was just weird as fuck. But so that was a little bit of an experience I had, but I haven't had, thankfully, too many like really scary stuff happen. Diego, I just got divorced. How do I get custody of my kid? I feel like that's not... I feel like... Weren't you talking about Minecraft earlier? Who was talking about Minecraft? And remember, coleslaw is the most vile substance known to mankind. I don't know. I think you can make coleslaw taste good. Maybe you just had shit coleslaw. Sophie with the one says, really sorry to bother, but can you leave the stream on your channel for a tiny bit afterwards? I want to record the parts where you respond to me so I can show my sister. I don't know. I've never donated on a stream before. I don't know how stream... Oh, don't worry. No, yeah, no, you're not interrupting anything. I mean, the only times that like there's interruptions is when people donate like the twerkable, you know, amounts where I'm just like, holy shit, you know. But other than that, no worries at all. But basically what I do is after every stream, I set them to unlisted, but I put them on a stream. You know, I don't know if you know where playlists are, if anybody knows where playlists are and stuff like that. But you go to the playlist, and there's a playlist called Streams and Q&A, and that's where I list the, that's where I'll put the stream VOD. It usually takes a little while for it to process, maybe like an hour or so, but that is where that will be once the stream ends, if that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. So it's technically still in the channel, but it's only available like through the streams playlist. And they're sorted from like newest to oldest, so if people are bored, you know, and they want more content, you can go through all of the old streams, and there's some pretty funny moments on there. I've said some stupid shit, especially during my birthday stream. I was rather tipsy. Rather tipsy, I was. All right, guys, I'm going to read this outro here quickly. And I want you guys to think of something humorous to say on me way out that you can hear in the video when it comes out tomorrow at 7, or today at 7 rather, p.m. Eastern time. Do I fish? I have in the past. I haven't gone fishing in a long time. It sounds kind of nice. Hey friends, thanks for listening. Click that notification bell and be alerted of all future narrations. If you got a story, be sure to submit them to my subreddit, r/Let'sReadOfficial, and give and receive feedback from my community, and maybe even hear your story featured on the next video. And join my Discord to interact with me and other listeners directly. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations for $1 a month on Patreon, and maybe even pick up some Let's Read merch on Spreadshirt. And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all these stories in long compilation form and save huge on data. Located anywhere you listen to podcasts. Links in the bio. Thanks so much, friends. And poop. Never ignore Bruce. Yeah. Joel is an OnlyFans? Oh, yeah. Sophie says, you are very cool. Thank you. Well, thank you, Sophie. Thank you for the $1. No problemo. And remember, I don't actually love fucking lasagna. I do love lasagna. I love lasagna. I love lasagna! I love lasagna! Start jumping up on the chair. I love lasagna! Like Tom Cruise on Oprah. And remember, I'm under your bed. I love lasagna. Alright, fuck it, I'm gonna say that. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, I love lasagna. Alright. We did it, folks. We did it. We done it. Guys, thanks again for being here. I appreciate it. As always, thank you for your generosity and all your positivity. As you all know, this the audio will be edited and first released on Patreon. Early access. It's only $1 a month on there if you want to support that. All the links in the bio down below on the description. You can listen to the fully edited with music and everything video tomorrow on, well, today rather. For me, it's after midnight, but today at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And new videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Going to be doing streams every Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday as usual. Always kind of up in the air, but follow me on Twitter at Let's Read Creepy and at Let's Read.official on Instagram to be kept up to date when shit's coming out and all that kind of good stuff, and when I'm going to be streaming and all that. And then also follow my meme page at Horny Computer for all sorts of hilarity to ensue. But yeah, thanks for being here. Thanks for being ballas and ballettes. Go join the Discord. If you guys want to keep this chat going, join in the chat. Post pictures of yourself. You might be able to find my picture in there if you look hard enough. And chat with all your new internet friends and all that good stuff. But you want low fat, eat a popsicle, don't take it out of the lasagna. Hey, low fat, in my opinion, is stupid unless you have like, gallbladder issues. Because people associate the word fat, like low fat, with like the fact that it's not going to contribute to you gaining fat on your body. But like what usually distributes into fat or is turned into fat the quickest in your body is sugar, in case you didn't know that. So that's why a lot of times people actually go to a high fat diet, moderate protein, super low sugar diet when they do keto, because it like converts their body into like burning primarily fat too, as like, you know, I feel like, what's like a better word for fat, like lipids or something? I feel like lipids would make more sense. That's like, I think, one of the more technical terms. But anyways, the low fat bullshit I feel like is just is like made in the 80s to like convince people that sugar is somehow better for you, but it's not unless you have a use for it, you know. But anyways, I'm just bullshitting about nothing. Guys, I love you. Thank you for being here and being awesome. Yes, please be sure to consume your lasagna and cheese and all that good stuff. And pick on Odie. Disrespect John Arbuckle with your thought bubbles. And we'll see you again soon. Goodbye, goodbye, until we meet again. So long, farewell. Pokemon is a sin.